right, man. I ain't gonna talk about the whole situation. I ain't gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna speak on death no more in rap or nothing like that. I don't plan on doing so anymore. Even at some point, I plan to transition the channel away, 100% towards rap and music entertainment and movie reviews and movies. I got some things lined up, so I plan on 100% transitioning to that. So hopefully y'all stick around for that, but in the near future. But hip hop is built on death and destruction, and people got to understand, dude. I remember DJ Academics was talking to like Tariq Nasheed or whatever. He was saying that I don't understand black people been here for so long. I don't understand why they ain't got ahead. I came over here, I built my brand, I got ahead. You got to understand. Usually you claim to be Jamaican or whatever. What you got to understand is you come from a culture. That's what you come from. You come from a culture. Even the Native Americans, they have an established culture. The Europeans, they have established culture. When people come over here, the Irish, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Filipino people, the Thailand people, people from the Middle East, they have an established culture where it's about helping. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how Atlanta got ahead in rap. Remember that meme they got where Atlanta like helping each other build like a bridge? You know what I'm saying? To, make it across whatever, and Atlanta rappers help each other out and they build with each other or whatever. That's not, really what the culture of hip hop is based on. People just, make the culture synonymous with rap. But it's a culture. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the youngest cultures in the world. It's a culture. Because that's the only thing black people know. What you got to understand, you got to go back to the, you got to go back to, when desegregation happened. And Farrakhan and a lot of people was against it. Martin Luther King fought for it. And in the thought of that was, it was kind of like people, we wanted equality. But, what the miscalculations was, it was never going to be equality. You see this umpteenth years later. And what happened was, going back a little further to, when the slaves was free, the crippled, was the Confederate South or whatever it was, wasn't free because they wanted y'all free. But going back to the free, and then, at the end of the day, what you was going to do? We own the same amount of land going back to 1950 to right now. 0.5% is still what we own. So you fight for equality, but, every time we get up, we do something, we galvanize, we get a little bit of something, they flip the board over. So I'm getting at something, so I'm about trying to make a point. They flip the board over, excuse me. So there's no reason for people to own black people to still own 0.5% of the country. What? 50 years later, like a lot of years later, like 70, almost 100 years later, we still own the same amount. And then you say, well, the slaves, back to my point, they get out, they get free. I mean, some of them had to slay on the plantation to make a living. So then you get out there, you don't have any capital, you don't get your 50 acres, 10 acres and a mule, you don't get any land, you don't get any housing, you know what I'm saying? So how do you build yourself up? Welfare. And it's not like, just like, people say, well, welfare is reparations. More white people on welfare than blacks. You know what I mean? When I used to work in high school at Kroger, in Dearborn, Michigan, you know how many people I've seen pull up with Range Rovers? I seen Sean Rogers there. He was a defensive tackle for the Lions. He pulled up in the Escalade, a beige Escalade, right? I seen a bunch of Arabs pull up in that, cars better than that, equally look good as that, and they will pull out a WIC card or a bridge card. So at the end of the day, how can it be reparations when everybody getting it? When everybody didn't build the country, go through what we went through, etc., etc. All right, how? All right, but carrying on. So you start looking at, you say, well, the welfare. Then it was, you got to take the man out the house. If you got a man there, oh, you don't need welfare. You don't need financial assistance. That's the same today. You got to hug, your girl, just a random person, just to ask you for $50. You like, she married to Ken. Why you can't ask Ken for $50? And that's why a lot of dudes get mad when women be asking family for money. Why you don't ask Ken? Why you don't ask Bob? Why you don't ask DeAndre? Why you don't ask him? What he doing? He's sitting there. That's the first reaction that you gonna get. I tell my girlfriend, you out here asking people for money because you done exhausted me for money. That makes me look bad. Manage your money, and a lot of women can't a lot of people, not just women, can't manage money. And I know it's hard putting priorities. I know it's hard putting what you want over priorities. Like I said before, you gotta save for what you want. If you can't buy it twice, don't buy it. But a lot of people got an issue with that. You gotta do what you gotta do. Lights gotta be on before your feet nice. You know what I'm saying? Water got to be flowing before your bag got Gucci on it and all that. At the end of the day, that's just status things. And some dude who taking the bus who messing with the baddest chick. It's crazy. But nonetheless, but yeah, you go look at taking the man out the house for people to get assistance because black people didn't have none. But at what point, going to like that 70s era, people, dudes was able to learn a trade in school. So he was coming out of school, with a cut and grind and CNC mills and lathes. You was coming out a pipe fitter. You was coming out, a brick mason. And that's something that, you can pass down. And when they stop those programs, which is way more, important than anything else you learn in high school, dudes was able to come out with good jobs, good paying jobs, do what they want to do, didn't have to work for nobody, can contract, by assignment and all that type of stuff. Then you get to the 80s, at some point they get rid of the skilled trade in school, right? At some point along the line, they skilled trades start to get frowned upon, and they start pushing people to college. And you got to understand, what is like the 8% or 10% or 5% of the wealthy owns most of the public or most of the colleges out there. It's a scam. So guess when you paying back, who you paying back to? You paying, not only are you paying, your loan money is paying them to attend the college. Once you paying the money back, right? Once you paying the money back, guess who company? Sally Mae. Guess who company you paying it back to? Bank of America, Chase, whoever you took the loan out from, credit union. Guess who you paying the loan back to? They getting paid 2 times. You paying the loan back to the 10 or the 5% of the wealthy who own the colleges, and they own the banks. So chew on that for a minute. That's who you're paying it back to. So it's really, it's a reason why they don't tell kids about skilled trades, and they don't offer it like they offer. And they offer it in I don't want to say remote locations, but they offer it in the suburbs and stuff still. They sure do. They still offer it in the suburbs and stuff. So that's kind of what people kind of gotta, understand, bro. It's just, it is what it is. But excuse me. So they offering, they offer that, and I'm getting to my point. So now you take skilled trades out of the equation, So the one way that you can make some money, come out of school, make some really good money, start a family. They got rid of that. They took the male out the home so the woman can make it. He couldn't even be there to raise his kids, and y'all don't see no direct correlation with fathers disappearing now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of males had to figure it out on their own. And a lot of stuff, even with a man there, he can't tell you everything. A lot of stuff you got to figure out on your own, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But it helped to have a cheat code in the house. So then you get to the 80s. You know, heroin was 70s and all that. You know, coke, rich people drugs. But then you get to the 80s and it's crack cocaine. Then they start, then I'll just say this. Then magically AR-15s and AK-47s started to appear in neighborhoods. In people's random cars reportedly, while they doors, they will open up and it'll be an AK-47. You hear Prince talk about the plane spraying some shit over the town acting crazy and getting violent all of a sudden and stuff of that nature. And where was hip hop? What was one of the main elements that hip hop created? It was created in the 80s. From the creation of rap, from the creation of b-boy, and the creation of them two right then and there. Graffiti had been around, but in the creation of the two main elements, rapping and b-boying and stuff of that nature, that's where it was created. So it was created in a time of a lot created in a time of a danger time in our community. How many people died over crack rock, over $1? Somebody putting guns, they push violence. And then they made guys like Rayful Edmonds, they made guys like him the poster child for violence. You know what I'm saying? He didn't own no plane to get back to Bolivia or get from Colombia to put that stuff in. A lot of black people didn't have the resources to buy AK-47s and to get machine guns and automatic assault rifles. So you got to understand, in the 80s, all of it hit ahead. It all came to a boiling point. So you have fathers disappearing. They was on the verge of creating like child support really going in. So you keep telling the father he don't have to be there, he don't have to be there. At some point, then the government said we can make more money off of that. We can make a tremendous amount of money off. We can child support his ass. So he don't want to be in the house, and they got to get benefits, and it's detrimental to raising his son and his daughter in a healthy relationship. He don't want to be there. We gonna tax his ass for not being there. We gonna get a piece of that. So you had that. At the same time, you had rap, you had, hip hop, the culture, rap, graffiti, b-boying, DJing, all taking off. In the midst of the most violent time that we can really remember at that point. The most violent time. Think about it. Everything that went on in the 80s, the drugs, the killing, the drug dealers, the murder for hire guys and all that stuff. All that, it boiled at the same time. It's in like you making greens, or you making a pot roast, or you put the onions and all that shit. It all was cooking at the same time. And you fast forward to now, now you can understand why culture was built on killing. At the same time it was created was the same time it was the most violent time in our community. And at the same time, it was one of the most wealthy times in our community. What did Big L say? He said most of these niggas be raunchy if crack never came out. Will still be raunchy if crack never came out. Whatever he said. So you get an understanding. It was a culture. It was just the, I wouldn't say the perfect storm. I don't mean perfect. It's perfect timing. the most debilitating, violent, wealthy time, and then you say, on top of that, it was the creation of a lot of the elements of hip hop was created. So what they gonna rap? What are most of the dudes gonna rap about? They surroundings, broken glass everywhere. But that's what you gotta understand. It was created the same time. Crack cocaine, and they was putting assault rifles in cars, and they was doing a little spray shit in the air. Prince will say it was created at the same time. Come on. It's embedded. It's in dude's DNA at this point. And white guy could stare at a black guy and he just nod or put his head down, but that a brother stare at him is anger. I want to hurt you. What you looking at, fool? We quick to rob each other. We quick to rob from Miss Pearly in the hood and Mr. Johnson. But you want to go out to the suburbs and pull that in Kathy and Karen? Or even if they lived in the hood. You got a lot of people in gentrification moving to the hood. They'll get their houses broken into. You know what I'm saying? They don't rob them. They don't steal their Christmas presents or nothing like that. So it's embedded, bro. And you gotta understand, man. Like BG say, it's your decision to choose right from wrong. Might be a power move to run into this nigga home. You know what I'm saying? It is, but you gotta understand a lot of kids don't have a chance. A lot of people don't have a chance. You know what's so funny? I'm gonna end off on these last couple things. You know what's so funny about the way we think? How you come from a household, somebody smoke weed in the household, and the kids smoke weed, and they wanna discipline the kids. You gotta watch you say on YouTube. They wanna discipline the kid for smoking weed, but you've been smoking weed around him, sneaking smoking weed like he don't know or she don't know for 15, 12, 10, 18 years and get mad when they start smoking weed. Come on. And something else is on my mind, like how, I was saying like years ago when all that stuff was happening with police and black people, how police officers should have to do so much community service in the neighborhood that they're going to be working in to understand, to kind of, build those relationships, right? Judges should too. Judges should have to do a lot of community service. I know it take a long time to be a judge, but in the midst of all of that, they should have to go to the community and see the people and be social workers and see how people live and go to people's homes and see where these kids is coming from that you locking away. A lot of people, I didn't understand this till I got older because I didn't really most of my friends that I went to, I was cool with, we pretty much came kind of from the same household. Because I don't really mess with my mom's side of the family like that. So we ain't it's not really like that. So for the most part, it was pretty much, your home was just like my home. Your mom was just like my mom. Your family was just like my, for the most part. It was the same stuff. And so I got older and started kind of really seeing a lot of kids don't have a chance. A lot of these kids don't have a chance, bro. And you try to you will try to sit there and have a conversation and try to explain to them, but they train of thought is so effed up that life is gonna be the ultimate discipliner. And if some of them judges understood that, and they worked as social workers for a little while, went to these homes and see where people came from, bro, they would understand, dude. And I think it'll be more of a reform for at least the juvenile side of the penitentiary first to be truly rehabilitative, if that's a word, to really rehabilitate people. But a lot of kids don't have a chance, bro. A lot of them don't have a chance. And you got to think about this. I didn't understand this till I got in my 20s. Because the people I surrounded myself, I just so happened to be cool with, came from like the same background or higher. So, you know, you go look, you know, and I grew up in Detroit. You got to think about that for a minute. I grew up in Detroit. So I was about, what, 19, 20 years old when I, you know what I'm saying? When you start recognizing, like, niggas really ain't got no chance. Detroit got no chance. So, you know, hopefully give you a better look into why. But that's all I got. Check out Goodfella. Appreciate it for checking out Goodfella TV. Thumbs up the video. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications. Increase your chance of notifications. We go live, drop video. Hit the link tree. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, the whole 9 link tree. The first link in the description. Peace.